So Brian, here we are Wednesday, the second UFC event in a matter of 4 days. UFC 171 on the heels of UFC 249, right? This is fight night. And we are on fight night. It is happening just about 2 hours from now, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Mm-hmm. So you are the Fight Guys, UFC, and all things MMA experts. So listen, round one's yours, bud. Let's just get into it. Let us know your thoughts, picks, breakdowns, whatever you want to talk about. What do you got?
Well, I was really going to talk about those top three fights, and we'll start like in the main card. And one of the more intriguing matchups is Alexander Hernandez against Drew Dober. The odds for that particular fight are really tight. You have to obviously always make sure you're checking to see what the latest things are. The line, I don't suspect, has moved too much. But yeah, it actually has moved a little bit more in favor of Drew Dober. Right now, according to BetOnline, Drew Dober is a minus 134 favorite. And Alexander Hernandez has dropped down to a plus 114 underdog. Yesterday, they were both in the minuses. So even though Drew Dober was still the favorite, it wasn't as clean or as clear as the favorite. You weren't getting basically money back for betting on as much money back for betting on Hernandez as you are now if you pick him. I do like Drew Dober in the fight, but it is a very close one. We'll see what happens. Drew Dober's just on a tear right now. He's on on a win streak of 2 straight fights, and he had first round knockouts in both of those fights. So he's definitely on the move. In the co-main event, we have, this one's really interesting because Ovince St. Preux is making his UFC heavyweight debut. He's pretty much fought his entire career at light heavyweight, and now he's stepping up. Now he steps up to fight in heavyweight. He is facing one of the true giants of the division. Rothwell is 6'4". He got a cut weight to get to 265. So he's a big guy. It's interesting because OSP is the better athlete, but now he weighed in yesterday at 240. So he's going to be a fairly smallish heavyweight by UFC standards. But he does have I would say the athletic edge. But Rothwell, while his striking isn't aesthetically pleasing, it's kind of effective because it's so awkward, and he really only strikes to get in, to initiate a clinch or to get a takedown. Right. Once he's able to do that, he can kind of work his submission game. Right now, Ovince St. Preux is still the favorite, minus 129, according to BetOnline, and Ben Rothwell is plus 109 underdog. This is one of the fights I'm going with the upset. I kind of like Rothwell in this fight. One of the reasons why is because while Ovince St. Preux has shown himself to be just absolutely amazing at securing the Von Flue choke, which is one of the rarest submissions you're going to find in mixed martial arts, he also is a little susceptible to submissions, especially chokes himself. He can get a little careless on the ground, and Rothwell's really good down there. So I like Rothwell as the upset.
So let me interrupt you there for a second.
Sure.
That's really interesting to me. And I'm sure it would be interesting to a lot of our audience that are primarily boxing fans, might tune in tonight and be looking for this rare choke. What is it?
The Von Flue choke is a choke that is administered from top position, which is generally rare because the leverage wouldn't normally be there to get the choke. But it's also called a shoulder choke. It's essentially a headlock from the top where you're driving your shoulder and the top part of your arm into the neck of the person on the bottom, but you also have a grip from behind them, so it looks a little bit like a
forearm and like holding
not a forearm. It's the shoulder area. It looks a little bit like the head and arm choke from the side, but it's different because it's done from directly on top, and it happens so quickly you can barely tell. And it almost looks as though the person from the bottom doesn't realize that they're being choked until they're almost out. Wow. Because you see more technical submissions, and anybody, if you're familiar with mixed martial arts, or for our boxing fans who are not, when you see technical submission, it means the person lost consciousness before they tapped out or refused to tap out and lost consciousness. So you see a lot of technical submissions coming from the Von Flue choke.
Which does it just come on quickly because they don't realize it until they can't tap?
It comes on quickly, and they think they have time to fight. But they don't.
And the oxygen's gone.
And it's gone.
Gotcha.
So there has been some some push for it to be renamed the Von Preux choke, because Ovin St. Preux has more submission wins with this maneuver than anybody in the mixed martial arts history. So he's great at it, but the chances of him being Rothwell that way are slim to none, I think. So, but moving on to this main event, which is very interesting. We're going to talk a little bit more about Anthony Smith a little bit later in the show. Just a fascinating situation.
Yes.
Scary in some ways too. He's taking on Glover. He's taking on Glover Teixeira, which is a very important light heavyweight bout, because coming into this fight, Anthony Smith, who's already had a title shot against John Jones last year, he's ranked number 4. And he would like to keep his position to stay within striking distance of getting another title shot sometime soon. If he loses to Glover Teixeira, who's ranked number 8 and will be 41 years old in October, that placement will obviously be compromised. And the UFC doesn't like to get quick turnarounds for guys who lost in a title shot. If you get your title shot and you lose, you usually have to build yourself back up. You're going to have to win 3 or 4 more fights before you get another title shot. That's just the way it works. So Anthony Smith already had a rebound fight where he beat Alexander Gustafsson. Beating Teixeira here might put him in 1 more win away from getting another title shot. For Teixeira, this is probably his last real shot to move into title contention. Like I said, it'll be 41 in October. He's ranked number 8 right now, but a victory over Anthony Smith would probably make him a top 5 rated fighter, which might put him 1 or 2 wins away from getting another title shot himself. He also fought John Jones, but his opportunity came back in 2014. He lost as well, the unanimous decision. So everybody wants to get back and to get an opportunity to get a shot at the crown. So it's a pretty strong card overall. We did lose 1 fight today. Carl Robertson was the only fighter who missed weight. He was missed by a pound and a half.
Hey, so he didn't miss by COVID.
He didn't. No, he missed by a pound and a half, but he experienced some illness from trying to make weight. So if we're thinking back about Jeremy Stevens on Saturday, he didn't try to make weight. So he went in, strong for the fight. He ended up getting knocked out anyway. But maybe this is the kind of, this is how it works. Sometimes the fighters will tax themselves to make weight. And when they do, they put themselves in jeopardy. Sometimes they won't tax themselves to make weight, and they just have to deal with the, charges of being unprofessional, which a lot of times that might be the case, but it's still probably better than pushing your body to the brink and getting sick. So,
the interesting about UFC is that, you see these things happen under normal circumstances. So, you want to be able to say, well, was it a short camp? Was it short notice? Was it the inability, or did he know he was already fighting on this date previously? And this really ended up working out where the fight never was canceled. They're keeping the date. It's just taking place in Florida. Or, what were the reasons? Did he even express reasons why he missed weight? And by how many pounds did he miss weight?
He missed by 1.5 pounds, so it wasn't egregious, but it was still, still missed. And I think he only missed by 1.5 because of whatever he did that day to try to get down.
I see. So he did try. So he's probably a few pounds. Okay. Yeah, that was basically all he could squeeze.
He probably got to the hotel like that day or the 2 days before that, 3 pounds over or something, and was trying to get down.
You can cut 3 pounds the morning of, fairly simple. It must have been bigger than that.
I wonder if it's that he had already been trying to cut the whole week, and then he got there 3 pounds that day and couldn't go anymore.
Yeah, there's a point where the body will shut down.
Yeah, and he might have, because when he got on the scale, he didn't look right.
Yeah,
he didn't look right. I mean, he didn't look as bad as I've seen some guys look, but he didn't look right. So, it is what it is. I'm glad. I'm hoping that he's safe and cool and can recover. A lot of times, man, guys will miss weight in these types of situations and they'll tax themselves. And I've seen them never really look the same afterwards. It happened to Renan Barão. Renan Barão was one of the best bantamweights in the world, and he struggled making weight at 135, and he had a couple bad weight cuts, and he just hasn't been the same since. So,
well, Brian, as people that are familiar with combat sports and really understand from a participant standpoint, the brain is what suffers when you push yourself to go beyond what your body will provide you from a weight cut standpoint. And there's a point where pushing it too hard and taking it to a dangerous limit ends up having an effect on the brain. And as you know, you start damaging the brain, there are just things that are just non-recoupable.
Absolutely.
So, it is what it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I'm looking forward to looking at UFC Fight Night 171. Also, make sure that you tune in to the channel later on tonight on YouTube. We will be doing a live recap show, the same as we did for UFC 249, going through the entire card. So make sure you're there for that.